Sky with Levantina, USA, Dallas.
In this video, we'll be explaining great marble alternatives. So what we have here is C-Pearl quartzite. Can you explain to us what this is?
This particular stone is a little bit more on the riskier color palette, if you will. For those who like the more marble-esque look of the quartzite with the durability of that harder stone, the material will take on a little bit more of a mockingbird effect with the color. It's got a little bit of gray, a little bit of beige, and even a teeny tiny bit of green, and that's where the name of the stone actually originates from. There are many ranges of this particular color, and some of them will go more into a teal tone, and like this one, it's a little bit more reserved in the color palette, and it goes into a more beige gray tone.
Now, I hear a lot of people say it's a granite, it's a marble, it's a quartzite. Is there actually different versions of it, or is it just a quartzite?
From what we've come across, it's going to be a hard quartzite, the igneous side of the quartzite. Now, it's not to say that over time somebody has named another stone very similar in look by the same name, and that's where maybe the confusion may have happened. But overall, the tests that we've done and the response from the fabricators that we've received is that it is a hard, dense material.
This C-Pearl slab is a perfect alternative to Fantasy Brown marble.
Fantasy Brown is actually one of the most popular stones right now, but unfortunately it still falls under the marble family and can be easily etched and still stained to a certain extent. So for those who want that little bit of color with the hardness of a granite, C-Pearl is the winner.
And does this quartzite stain?
The stain resistance is going to be much better than your typical natural granite, or even for sure on the marble side. But still being a natural stone, it has a pore to it, so it would need to be sealed, kept, maintained like anything else that's natural. But overall, it's going to be less of a headache to maintain and care for in the long run.
So this here is Calicut quartzite leathered. I personally think this is a better option if you like marble, because when you think of marble, you think of the honed version that isn't polished. Now, can you explain to us a little bit more on the leathered properties of this?
So this particular stone has been through a process of wire brushes and acid wash. So when you're seeing the movement of the vein, that's where most of the texture is accentuated to give it just a little more character than what you would normally see with a polished finish. Aside from that, of course, it takes it into a completely different look. The aesthetics of the stone have become a little bit softer, the texture adding a little more interest to the overall feel of the natural stone, and basically giving it a whole new face.
Now, because it is leathered, is it still stain resistant and is it durable?
Quite frankly, when you're in a level of hardness of this particular stone, the igneous quartzites, they're already going to be harder, denser overall, but it just helps kind of bridge the two together whenever you're talking about a more natural feel and a more natural surface. If anything were to be damaged in a stone at this hardness, it would be the polished surface. So in taking that polish off, you're basically home free.
And then this is a leathered finish. What other finishes do these come in?
So your basic stone finish is going to be a polish. That's normally what we see out in the world, and it's almost a more raw state of the stone. You can always add another texture to a polish aftermarket. So you've got the leathered, which is one of the more textured. You do have a matte finish, the honed, which we've probably seen in the marble. And then, of course, one step above this with a little more texture is the brushing. So it's got an overall more hammered look to it.
And is this more rare to have in a leathered finish?
The stone itself is already going to be in the exotic family. So when it comes from the quarry already textured, It's pretty basic, apples to apples, as far as the market price. But if you were to find it in a polished finish and want to add the texture after the fact, it is a price jump because you have to pay for that extra labor.
So marble is normally super white, and it's really hard to mimic it. Now, is this the whitest that these quartzites can come?
The particular makeup of the igneous quartzite is quartz, natural crystal quartz, which is off-color. It's got somewhat of a beige or a taupe tone to it. So we have come across a couple of these quartzites that have been a little bit lighter, the Aria being one of them, but overall you're going to have an off-white, a soft white feel, which actually in our current design palette works out very well. We are in a very gray, beige, neutral, or what they've coined the term grayish. That's where we're at right now, so this blends in very well. It marries well with a lot of designs a lot of designers are currently working off of. So it makes it for a current piece, but also a timeless look.
Yeah, and I feel when we work with a lot of customers, they have a lot of white cabinets or dark cabinets, and it's good for contrast to have this with dark cabinets. And even with white cabinets, it's not too white where there is no tone in there. It pairs nicely with some gray paints.
Oh yeah, and it brings in that brightness that sometimes we do need in that area.
That will be it for Calicut Quartzite Leather.